All right guys, what's up? So welcome to week 14. In this module, I'm gonna go over the differences in rep ranges so that you have a good understanding of why we sometimes program, let's say 6 reps versus 12 to 15. So in the weight training world, there's 2 different categories of rep ranges. First one falls under the 1 to 5 rep range. This is considered the strength rep range. If it falls under the 6 through 15/20 rep range, depending on who you ask, it's called the hypertrophy rep range. Main difference between the two is how much weight we use. If it's in the strength category, we're going to be using about 85 to 100% of our 1 rep max. If it's in the hypertrophy rep range, we're going to be using about 70 to 80% of our 1 rep max. Now the differences between the two is that mainly on the strength side, if you work in that rep range for a long period of time, you will be getting a lot stronger than you would be if you were working on just the hypertrophy side. Because that rep range forces us to work with higher weights, which boosts our strength. The pro on the hypertrophy side, if this is what you're going after, is that when we work in this rep range, there's a much more likelihood of increasing the size of the muscle. And so you have to decide what's important to you. However, you have to understand that not all exercises are built for one or the other. For example, it's not a good idea to do isolated body parts in the strength rep range. You won't find me doing sets of 5 repetitions with a barbell curl. It's just generally not safe to do that much weight with single joint motions. 1 rep on the leg extension, not going to do it. So the strength category is mainly reserved for compound movements like barbell squats, deadlifts, bench presses, barbell rows. There's even been an entire program called Starting Strength where there's just 5 or 6 exercises and they're done on repeat week after week, and weight is added over the course of time. And it's a good foundation. However, we start you off in mostly the hypertrophy rep range because it's safer. It's just generally safer to keep someone in that 70 to 80% of their 1 rep max. And it also allows you to do more exercises, which can help you really sculpt your body. However, you will see that we'll program something like 12 reps, 10 reps, 8 reps, 6 reps, maybe even 4 reps, so that you can start to work in that strength area as well. And just because we're starting you off in the hypertrophy doesn't mean that down the line we can't switch you to solely a strength training program. Now the other difference that you should know is that when you are working in that 1 to 5 rep range, let's say we're doing a barbell squat for 3-4 reps, we're going to want to take about 2 to 5 minutes of rest in between each set. It's interesting, right? You would think that since you're doing less reps, you need to take less rest. It's the opposite. When we are working with that really high percentage of weight, it's super stressful on our bodies. And so we need to give it time to recover. As opposed to when we're working, let's say, 12 repetitions, we can take anywhere between like a 60 to 90 second rest and then go on to the next set. It's not to say that if you just work in the hypertrophy rep range that you won't build strength. I'm sure you've already noticed over the course of the last 3 months, you have built a bunch of strength. Okay, so they have some sort of commingling aspect to them. You can get stronger as you get bigger. It's possible, trust me. But I did want you to know the difference between the two and give you options down the line. Because as I said in modules before, your wants are going to change as you lift. Okay, so that's all I have for you today, and I will see you next week.